Hello, Night City! Welcome to a new week and a new episode. Continuing on the theme of last week's build, which you all seem to really enjoy, I've decided to make a whole giant beast to thump around the world I've created for If Worlds Collide. So without further ado, I'm your humble host Red, and it's time to craft. Since I'm all about trying new things, I started to sketch this super rough idea I had for a creature. I'm no stranger to drawing, but this was the first time I started with concept art. Maybe I'll do more as I get better with the whole crafting thing, but I just don't know yet. I initially thought of using this as the Queen of the Honona. It was originally meant to be a lot smaller than it is, and roughly half the size, but just like last build, the scale and idea got away from me, and what I was left with was the huge hulking monster capable of leveling cities. The Honona equivalent of Godzilla, but with a nastier attitude and appetite for wanton destruction. Originally, Godzilla only woke up to restore nature's balance when humans threw it out of whack, but this thing knows what it's doing and does it on purpose. Here I've cut up a soda can to use as the base of the torso of the beast. I'll end up using a lot of repurposed items like cardboard and some air drying clay that was almost about to expire. I even made an attempt at making sculpt a mold, which initially failed, but after the bulk of it dried out, it became hard as a rock, probably because of the PVA I used. After using some steel stick, of which I went through 4 tubes, I started to press my X-Acto knife handle into the can to flatten out spots so my creation didn't look like one. After, I started putting relief cuts into the back of the can to further flatten out some sections, using an older X-Acto blade plenty sharp enough to not tear the metal. I also took a lot of care to not cut myself. I get enough paper cuts at work, so getting sliced open at home would not be great. Here's a fun fact. Cans have a really thin layer of plastic on the inside of them to help protect the surface material from corroding. That's why you should never, under any circumstance, heat a can you intend to eat or drink from. Next, I'll start working on the rest of the skeleton. In order to build up the limbs and whatnot, I'll need something for the various materials I'll use to stick to. The idea of this creature changed to be 4 legs, so the rear legs had to be redesigned and built on the fly to accommodate. This will happen a lot, as I've learned with other projects in the past, and you just gotta roll with it. I think some call it listening to the craft. Using the tubes the steel stick came in, I fashioned shoulders I could move and pose before I set them in place. More cardboard is going to be used to bulk things out further, with the intent to build surfaces that 28mm minis could stand on. The head also had a conceptual overhaul as I worked, because I thought a splitting jaw would look really cool. Then, continuing to bulk out the project with cardboard and foil, I'll start covering the beast in various junk to give it a more defined shape. Even though there's a lot of epoxy putty on there, it's still relatively light for its size, coming in at about a pound. As I near completion of the first part of the model, I start to think about paint and details. I'll need to sculpt places where the joints would move, think about skin texture, and how versatile I could make this thing should I opt to use it in other games, like tabletop RPGs. I'll wrap up here, so tune in next week for some paint and some minor detail additions. So until then, go imagine something. Thanks for watching.